and I'm not talking about the FBI necessarily, but intelligence agencies more broadly.
So you're not suggesting, though, that spying occurred?
I think spying did occur. Yes, I think spying did occur.
Well, let me...
But the question is whether it was adequately predicated, and I'm not suggesting it wasn't adequately predicated, but I need to explore that. I think it's my obligation. Congress is usually very concerned about intelligence agencies and law enforcement agencies staying in their proper lane, and I want to make sure that happened. We have a lot of rules about that, and I want to say that I've said I'm reviewing this. I haven't set up a team yet, but I have in mind having some colleagues help me pull all this information together and let me know whether there's some areas that should be looked at. And I also want to make clear this is not launching an investigation of the FBI. Frankly, to the extent there were any issues at the FBI, I do not view it as a problem that's endemic to the FBI. I think there was probably a failure among a group of leaders there at the upper echelon.
On this episode of Just Informed Talk, we're going to look at the latest new Q posts, which tell us about the incredible story of spying on President Trump by people in both the FBI and the intelligence community. We're going to talk about that, plus a lot more of the news that's been going on, so I hope you guys enjoy. Hi, I'm Craig, and welcome to Just Informed Talk. I always begin by saying thank you to everyone who's come here and hit that subscribe button. If you haven't, please come here on the landing page, click the big red subscribe button, and make sure you hit the bell for notifications so you'll be notified when these videos get posted. And don't forget to hit that like button, the thumbs up button, if you guys like this content and want to see more. So, we're going to pick up on the latest Q post, and of course, there's only one, but it says so much without having to really say it. So we're going to get into that in a second, but before we go check out this latest new Q post and talk about a lot of different other news stories that are happening today, we're going to go back here. And if you guys want to get caught up on what's been happening lately here on the channel, I always encourage everyone to come back here, watch these last few videos. It's going to get you caught up on the latest Q posts and everything that you need to know. If you're not sure what QAnon is and you're new to this, I always encourage everyone also to come check out this video. What is QAnon, the Great Awakening? It'll give you all the information you need to know about what QAnon is and the Great Awakening, how to get involved, how to find the information, how to do the research, all of that stuff. And I'll be providing links at the end to everything that we cover here. So first and foremost, we're going to dive right into this latest Q post. Now, it's simply a Fox News article, and the words panic Q. And yes, they are panicking. Why are they panicking? Here's the article. The article is talking about the clip you just saw at the beginning of this episode, William Barr, the Attorney General, testifying that spying did occur on Trump campaign. Now, this is incredible. We have the sitting U.S. Attorney General confirming today I think he was under a sworn testimony in an open hearing that President Trump, I repeat, President Trump was spied on. And what you notice in that clip, when I played it at the beginning, what you'll notice is that he says it's not just the FBI, but it was also certain intelligence agencies that may have been involved as well. Now, if you guys have been following this Q stuff for a while, you know that we've already identified the key players. I mean, I've put up flowcharts of how it all happened and what agencies were involved and which heads of each agency were involved in the dissemination of this false information that was used to frame President Trump in order to have a predicate for this illegal investigation, which morphed into the special counsel with Robert Mueller. So, as we have reported in previous videos, President Trump's been working with special counsel Robert Mueller to identify exactly what we're being told now. See, it was impossible for Robert Mueller to go after President Trump for obstruction because A, President Trump was cooperating directly with his investigation, and B, because they knew just as well as everyone else did that in order to get President Trump for obstruction, you'd have to prove that there was a predicate, an underlying crime that he had committed and was trying to cover up, and there was no crime, right? So I've used the example before in the past. It's like a cop driving across town to stop a bank robber, kicks in the door, stops the bank robbery, and then his superior officer comes and says, well, good job stopping the bank robbery, but you're under arrest for running 3 red lights and not using a blinker for when you turn, and double parking and jaywalking. You can imagine what kind of craziness this is, right? So this actual article, when you go through and read it, it kind of summarizes everything. I think you guys should read this in its entirety if you guys want to get a better idea of what this is talking about. But it goes into a few different examples of how this guy, Stephen Halper, was one of the key linchpins to all this. Now, Stephen Halper, this incredibly handsome gentleman, I can't even say that with a straight face. Excuse me. I'm not into judging appearance, but that's neither here nor there. The point is that this guy was involved in working against President Trump's campaign, infiltrating it and using his infiltration as some sort of jumping point for starting this complete crazy Russia collusion hoax, right? How did he do that? He was the one who started contacting people like Carter Page and George Papadopoulos and trying to actually gain access to the Trump campaign. Why would he want to gain access to the Trump campaign? Because just like himself and Joseph Mifsud and Alexander Downer, all of these people who were involved were planting themselves and embedding themselves into the Trump campaign or in the sphere of the Trump campaign, so that the FBI could go and say, oh, well, this person has a tie to Russia, so now we have to open an investigation, right? And it's just like the way they used the Steele dossier to get the FISA Carter Page warrants. Why were they using the Steele dossier, or why were they using an unverified piece of intelligence? It's because they were trying to plant a false predicate for this investigation. That's exactly what Stephen Halper was helping to do as well. He's obviously an FBI informant who was gaining access and trying to figure out who had access to what and who would be the easiest and best targets to frame. And they obviously came up with Papadopoulos and Carter Page, among others. And that's where they went after. So that this was all a part of a very broad conspiracy. So they go, oh, yeah, you're all conspiracy theorists. Well, excuse me, the Attorney General just confirmed everything that we've been talking about here for, the last year or so. So, yeah, I mean, that's something to understand and to take into account. Also, I want to share this short clip from the president talking about exactly what happened and using very, very blunt terminology, it's like these fake news reporters are so dense that you just literally have to just say exactly what happened or else they don't get it. So watch this and you can listen to President Trump kind of explain it for himself about the Mueller report and what happened.
Well, the Mueller report's interesting. After $35 million, with 13 increased to 18 angry Democrats, people that truly hated Donald Trump, they found no collusion whatsoever with Russia. But I could have told you that, and so could most people, and so could have everybody that voted for me, which was a lot of people. So after wasting all of this money and all of this time with people that were haters, people that worked on the Hillary Clinton Foundation, people that were absolutely haters of Trump, they found no collusion. What has been found during this period of time are the illegal acts of getting this whole phony investigation started. And hopefully that's where people are going now. That's where people are going. And it's very interesting. It was an illegal investigation, Major. It was an illegal investigation. It was started illegally. Everything about it was crooked. Every single thing about it. There were dirty cops. These were bad people. You look at McCabe and Comey, and you look at Lisa and Peter Strzok. These were bad people. And this was an attempted coup. This was an attempted takedown of a president. And we beat them. We beat them. So the Mueller report, when they talk about obstruction, we fight back. And you know why we fight back? Because I knew how illegal this whole thing was. It was a scam. And what I'm most interested in, is getting started Hopefully the Attorney General, he mentioned it yesterday, is doing a great job getting started on going back to the origins of exactly where this all started. Because this was an illegal witch hunt, and everybody knew it, and they knew it too, and they got caught. And what they did was treason. What they did was terrible. What they did was against our Constitution and everything we stand for. So hopefully that will happen. There is a hunger for that to happen in this country like I have never seen before, including all of the millions of people that voted for me. What they did was disgraceful. There's never been anything like it in the history of our country. Thank you.
Yeah. President Trump said it better than I could have ever said it, I think. This was treason. This was a coup. This was everything, all of the above. Think about what happened here. Think about the broader context. You have agencies that were using their own power, these unaccountable clandestine agencies using their incredible and vast power to spy on President Trump in order to sabotage his campaign and meddle in our elections. Is that the country you want to live in? I don't care. If you're listening to this and you're on the left or you're on the right, if you're conservative, liberal, whatever, please, is that the country you want to live in? Is that the precedent you want to set? Do you want it to be so that if President Trump wanted to, he could just launch an investigation and start illegally spying on all the 2020 competitors? Do you think that's fair? And then also to plant fake news stories and weaponize information in a way where you can basically slander and undercut individuals' integrity, call it into question, and then use that to go after them on a political basis. Do you really want to live in that society? That's the question I think we all have to ask ourselves, and I think that's the question that President Trump's posing to us, and that's what Q wants us to look at. Now, if you keep reading through this report, you have the fact that even Barr said further when he went on further to talk about further what he was going to do, he goes on to talk about how he doesn't want to launch an investigation in the FBI, but he said he wants to look at the leaders. He said, frankly, right here, to the extent there were issues at the FBI, I do not view it as a problem of the FBI. I think it was probably a failure of a group of leaders. The upper echelons of the FBI. I think the FBI is an outstanding organization. I'm very pleased with Director Chris Wray there. So think about it this way. This is exactly what we talked about. It wasn't your rank and file, the guys working every day, busting human traffickers, busting child exploiters, busting frauds, and busting all these people. It's not those FBI guys. It's the ones at top who were politically motivated hacks who weaponized their institution against President Trump and the American people subsequently. So that's what you have to think about when you're making these considerations of, well, what actually did or did not happen. And the facts continue to come out to prove and vindicate President Trump and our movement and what we've been doing here for so very long. And that's what you have to keep looking at. And these are the things you have to show to people who are still in disbelief, who still want to believe this crazy story about President Trump sitting in some, secret hotel room in Russia, having meetings with Russian spies and doing weird stuff. That's what you have to think about. That's all that I just described was made up. Him in Russia and doing these crazy things, but they used that and they made it apparently, allegedly. There still is investigation that needs to happen, but I think we've put together enough evidence to say that this needs to be addressed immediately. So, of course, you guys want to read this whole thing. It gives basically more examples of how Devin Nunes is calling for investigations and how Lindsey Graham's calling for investigation. And there's also talk about John Huber and his involvement. And some people were saying, I love some of the trolls when you go on the keyboards. They're like, oh man, well, I guess since Attorney General Barr said that he doesn't have an open investigation in the FBI over this, that basically, and this was like other trolls on Twitter, Gorka, excuse me, they were saying like, well, that proves that Q's fake because, there's nothing happening. And I'm like, dude, come on. Like, first of all, the investigations that have been going on behind the scenes were primarily into Hillary Clinton, the mishandling of that investigation and her email matter. That is a huge case. Okay, and that has been ongoing. Now they're looking at opening an investigation into the FBI and what they did with this whole Russia Steele dossier FISA court application. So that's going to be a new investigation. So guess what? We're getting what we asked for. It's like Christmas in April. So you guys want to read this story, you're most certainly welcome to go do that. Now, here's another story I wanted to cover. Here is just an incredible exchange between Representative Ted Lieu and Candace Owens, which I just wanted to bring to you guys. So what he does, he plays a clip of her making a comment about Hitler. Now, it was taken completely out of context, and it's the kind of thing that you would expect, like maybe a BuzzFeed reporter to put together. Possibly he was given this by a BuzzFeed reporter, but basically he plays the clip and makes the insinuation that somehow Candace Owens is or was in favor of Hitler and Nazi Germany. And I just was like thinking to myself, wow, I have to share this clip. You guys have probably seen it if you haven't. It's disturbing, but her rebuttal, I think, is spot on. And the way that Jerry Nadler runs this committee, I'm going to give you examples of what Democrats running committees in Congress looks like, as far as just completely disrespecting the witnesses that are called, completely abusing their power and trying to basically. I'm going to show you one with Maxine Waters and Steve Mnuchin. This is big, but here's a great example of how they've taken control of these House committees, and now they're using them to continue to push their little propaganda ploys. And if you think about it, if you really think about it, Democrats don't have many choices now. They have two choices, really. They can either turn on those sources that, the Brennans and the Clappers who have been telling them, oh, yeah, well, there's President Trump's with Russia, and there's definitely evidence, and don't worry, just keep pushing that. Or their other option from that would be to basically say, look, these guys told us this, and now we know it's a lie. But they're not going to do that. They're just going to double down. And this is another example of how they're doubling down. So you guys watch this clip. I don't have words to describe how this clip makes me feel, because I'm upset, but I'm glad that Candace was able to respond, and I just want to play it for you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. In congressional hearings, the minority party gets to select its own witnesses. And of all the people that Republicans could have selected, they picked Candace Owens. I don't know Miss Owens. I'm not going to characterize her. I'm going to let her own words do the talking. So I'm going to play for you the first 30 seconds of a statement she made about Adolf Hitler.
I agree. I actually don't have any problems at all with the word nationalism. I think that it gets, the definition gets poisoned by elitists that actually want globalism. Globalism is what I don't want. So when you think about, whenever we say nationalism, the first thing people think about, at least in America, is Hitler. He was a National Socialist, but if Hitler just wanted to make Germany great and have things run well, okay, fine. The problem is that he had dreams outside of Germany. He wanted to globalize. He wanted everybody to be German, everybody to be speaking German.
All right, so my first question is to Ms. Hirschenoff. Ms. Owens said, quote, if Hitler just wanted to make Germany great and have things run well, okay, fine. The problem is that he had dreams outside of Germany. So when people try to legitimize Adolf Hitler, does that feed into white nationalist ideology?
It does, Mr. Lieu. I know that Ms. Owens distanced herself from those comments later, but we expressed great concern over the original comments.
Great, thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Owens, I'm sorry, we just started recording. Would you like time to respond to that?
Yes, I think it's pretty apparent that Mr. Lieu believes that black people are stupid and will not pursue the full clip in its entirety. He purposely presented an extracted clip.
The witness will suspend for a moment. It is not proper to refer disparagingly or to a member of the committee. The witness will not do that again. Witness may continue.
Sure, even though I was called despicable.
Witness may not refer to a member of the committee as stupid.
I didn't refer to him as stupid. That's not what I said. That's not what I said at all. You didn't listen to what I said. May I continue?
Please.
As I said, he is assuming that black people will not go pursue the full 2-hour clip. and he purposefully he cut off, and you didn't hear the question that was asked of me. He's trying to present as if I was launching a defense of Hitler in Germany, when in fact, the question that was asked of me was pertaining to whether or not I believed that or not I believed in nationalism, and that nationalism was bad. And what I responded to was that I do not believe that we should be characterizing Hitler as a nationalist. He was a homicidal, psychopathic maniac that killed his own people. A nationalist would not kill their own people. That is exactly what I was referring to in the clip, and he purposely wanted to give you a cut-up similar to what they do to Donald Trump to create a different narrative. That was unbelievably dishonest, and he did not allow me to respond to it, which is worrisome and should tell you a lot about where people are today in terms of trying to drum up narratives. By the way, I would like to also add that I work for Prager University, which is run by an Orthodox Jew. Not a single Democrat showed up to the embassy opening in Jerusalem. I sat on a plane for 18 hours to make sure that I was there. I'm deeply offended by the insinuation of revealing that clip without the question that was asked of me.
Wow. Yeah. So there's a few things to point out about this clip. So there's two things that stood out to me right off the bat. First of all, there's this part right here where you have Jerry Nadler, who is chairing this committee, basically stop her after making the comment. She makes the comment, Ted Lieu is trying to intimate that onto me that I think, or trying to say, excuse me, that all black people are too dumb to go and look at the full context of the clip to realize that she wasn't praising Hitler. She was making a comment that you conflate things when you call Hitler a nationalist, but then you take out the fact that he was a homicidal maniac who killed millions of people. So that to me is really what the context of what she was saying is. But then you have Nadler, right? This guy literally, he just like stops everyone. And then I'm trying to find here, look at this part where he just puts his hands up. And he's just like, well, because she calls him out. He said, you will not, say anything derogatory about any member of this committee. First of all, like she said, she was basically characterized as despicable. So it's okay for them to say bad things about the witnesses, right? But then in the same token, you have Jerry Nadler telling her not to do something she didn't do, right? And it's just like, I don't even know. And he just kind of like puts his hands up and goes, oh well, keep going. I'm an idiot. Sorry. And then the other thing I wanted to point out is this right here. He literally has his hands like some Bond villain. The only thing this guy is missing is an eye patch and a white Persian cat in his lap. That's literally the way I see that. So whatever. Here's a great funny one. Now Maxine Waters, who is chairing you can't make this stuff up. She's the head of the banking committee in Congress, and she's chairing this meeting where she's completely, we're going to look at what she did to Steve Mnuchin. But watch this. Here's a little conversation between her and the heads of all the major banks where she has no idea that the college student loans 10 years ago, well, here, she appears to not know that the government nationalized student loans 10 years ago, despite chairing a committee that regulates the banks. This is a real thing, guys. This person is actually representing you in Congress. That should terrify you. Let's go ahead and watch it.
Thank you. Today there are more than 44 million Americans that owe, this is student loan crisis, $1.56 trillion in student loan debt. Last month, this committee received testimony that last year 1 million student loan borrowers defaulted, which is on top of the 1 million borrowers who defaulted the year before. What are you guys doing to help us with this student loan debt? Who would like to answer first? Mr. Monahan, Big Bank.
We stopped making student loans in 2007 or so.
Oh, so you don't do it anymore. Mr. Corbett?
We exited student lending in 2009.
Mr. Diamond?
When the government took over student lending in 2010 or so, we stopped doing all student lending.
Thank you. What about small business?
She literally, Jamie Dimon's like, we stopped doing it in 2010 when they stopped letting us do that. She's like, moving on. You're like, oh my gosh, right? So this is hilarious. And now here's another example of her exchange between Steve Mnuchin. Now, I'm not sure if these both happened today, but I can tell you this right now, that when you watch this full clip, I mean, this exchange just shows you the kind of animos and the vitriolic disdain that these Democrats who have taken control of the House have against people in the Trump administration, and the way that they're going to wield their powers to effectively disrupt government and to intimidate and to basically bully government employees like this one, Steve Mnuchin. You guys got to watch this.
I've sat here for over 3 hours and 15 minutes. I've told you I'll come back. I just don't believe we're sitting here negotiating when I come back. We'll follow up with your office. How long would you like me to come back for next time? I've told you I'll accommodate you.
I appreciate that, and I appreciate your reminding us of the length of time other secretaries have been here. This is a new way, and it's a new day, and it's a new chair, and I have the gavel at this point. If you wish to leave, you may.
Can you clarify that for me?
Yes, clarify is this.
So
If you wish to leave, you may.
Okay, so we're dismissed, is that correct?
If you wish to leave, you may leave.
I don't understand what you're saying.
You're wasting your time. Don't remember you have a foreign dignitary in your office.
I would just say that the previous when the Republicans, they did not treat the Secretary of the Treasury this way. So if this is the way you want to treat me, then I'll rethink whether I voluntarily come back here to testify, which I've offered to do.
Mr. Secretary, I want you to know that no other secretary has ever told us the day before that they were going to limit their time in the way that you're doing. So if you want to use them as examples, you have acted differently than they have acted, and as I have said, if you wish to leave, you may.
If you'd wish to keep me here so that I don't have my important meeting and continue to grill me, then we can do that. I will cancel my meeting and I will not be back here. I will be very clear if that's the way you'd like to have this relationship.
Thank you. The gentleman, the secretary, has agreed to stay to hear all of the rest of the members.
Okay,
Please
so just
cancel
let's be
your
clear
meeting
to the press.
and respect our time.
I am
Who is next on the
canceling
list?
my foreign meeting. You're instructing me to stay here and I should cancel.
No,
my
you
foreign
just
meeting.
made me an offer.
No, I didn't make you an offer.
You made me an offer that I accepted.
I did not make
Well-
you an offer. Just let's be clear.
Well,
You're
you-
instructing me. You are ordering me to stay here.
No, I'm not
Either.
ordering you. I'm responding. I said you may leave anytime you want. And you said, okay, if that's what you want to do, I'll cancel my appointment and I'll stay here. So I'm responding to your request. If that's what you want
That's
to
not
do.
what I want to do. I told you.
What would you like to do?
What I've told you is I thought it was respectful that you'd let me leave at 5:15.
You are
which
free
is the
to leave
current
anytime you
period of
want.
time.
You may
Okay,
go
well then,
anytime
please-
you want.
Please dismiss everybody. I believe you're supposed to take the gravel and bang it. That's the
Please do
appropriate-
not instruct me as to how I'm to conduct this committee.
Wow. I don't even know what, there's no words for how petty, childish, and you can tell, President Trump's got a nickname for this woman, Low IQ Maxine. Well, I'm actually going to go out on a limb here and say no IQ at Maxine, because if she thinks that this kind of intimidating, bullying, using her powers against, acting secretaries and cabinet members is going to just go without anyone noticing, she is literally has a zero IQ, because we're not going to stand for this. We're going to keep calling her out on her complete hypocrisy when it comes to demanding certain things for herself and her party, and then completely denying it for the other side. And this is just one example of many, but I had to bring this to you guys because it's really getting pretty bad, and I thought those were definitely worth looking at. So that might be right about where we leave it off. First of all, a few ways you can help out the channel. You guys want to stick around. Best way to help is to come here, click the big red subscribe button, make sure you hit the bell for notifications, and hit that like button if you guys like this content and want to see me make more. It's a great way to let me know you guys want to see more of this. Also, leave your thoughts, theories, and insights down in the comments. I want to hear what you guys have to think about everything. And also, I would love to see... I would really appreciate if you guys would watch these videos and share them on your social media to get the word out there, because that's the only way they really grow, is when you guys get involved, and I really am appreciative of all your help. A few other ways you can help the channel. First, you can come over here to Patreon, patreon.com. It's a crowdfunding website. You guys come here. There'll be a link in the description. Click this button to become a patron. That's definitely a great way to help the channel keep going. Without you guys, I couldn't do this. So thank you so much for your support and help here. And I really, really appreciate that. Thank you. Another great way you can help is to come over here and find me on GoFundMe. If you want to make a one-time or anonymous donation, that's the best way you can do it. And over here on Patreon, I forgot to mention, it's a monthly donation, but that helps out big time. So thank you guys for your support over there. Also, don't forget to check out justinformednews.com, the official website for Just Informed Talk. Here you get all the links for Q stuff, links to different news websites, links to breaking news reports, and you get all the videos from the YouTube channel here. And I told you guys in the past few episodes that I'm looking for people to contribute. I've had a lot of great people reach out. If you haven't heard back from me yet, that probably means you're close to being on the short list. I've been reaching out and getting a lot of feedback, so I'm going to keep that going, and I want to say thank you to everybody who's reached out for that. We got some exciting stuff planned for this website. Now, also, you can check out me on Twitter at JustInformYou, of course, at JustInformYou on Twitter. That's a great way you can help out the channel, and I really appreciate all your help and support over here. Come find me again at JustInformYou, the letter U, JustInformYou on Twitter. You guys should go check that out and give me a follow. That helps out big time, and I really appreciate it. So, before we go, as always, I like to stop or to end with the most important part. Like I always say, I'm like a kid at Christmas. I save the best gift for last. What can I say? So I want to do the segment God's Grace is Greater. It's a segment we do at the end of each one of these episodes where we talk about God's grace and how it is truly greater. For today's God's Grace is Greater segment, I want to share this piece of scripture. It's out of the book of James, chapter 4, verses 13 through 17. And I'm going to read this to you. It says, "Come now, you who say, quote, today or tomorrow we will travel to such and such a city and spend a year there and do business and make profit, unquote. You don't even know what tomorrow will bring, what your life will be. For you are a bit of smoke that appears for a little while, then vanishes. Instead, you should say, quote, if the Lord wills, we will live and do this or that, unquote. But as it is, you boast in your arrogance. All such boasting is evil. So for the person who knows to do good and doesn't do it, it is a sin." And that, to me, is talking about our will versus God's will. And, it's the sin of being too prideful and too arrogant and not looking to God first. And I just encourage all of you out there, if you're struggling, if you're having a tough time and you're wondering why things aren't going right, I encourage you to put your life to God and to make decisions based on God's will. And you may not be able to know it. You're not going to get, an email that says this is God's will. But if you put your supreme faith in God, if you get up every morning and pray to God and ask for forgiveness and ask for guidance and ask for courage and ask for wisdom and ask for strength and ask for humility, if you ask for all those things, God can make you righteous. And once you start living that righteous life, you'll feel the Holy Spirit just fill you up every single day more and more and more. Now, it's not going to be all sunshine and rainbows, and it's not going to be, easy. It's simple, but it's not easy. That's something I say a lot, but it's true. Some of the simplest things can be the most difficult. So remember, this is not something that just happens overnight. God can do anything, don't get me wrong. But for us, it's like a marathon. It's our job to do this from here into the end when we go to be with God. So we have to get up every day with the attitude of put God first, live a good life, treat others how I want to be treated, and live by the truth that you know. And that's where I'm going to leave it. I want to say thank you guys for watching this episode. As always, I appreciate you guys coming here and supporting the channel. Like I always say, this is a great time to do it. If you want, come here, hit the subscribe button, and hit that like button, the thumbs up button if you guys like this content and want to see more. But that's going to be it for me. I want to say thank you for watching Just Informed Talk. My name is Craig. Godspeed and God bless each and every one of you, Patriots.